I love this tea so much. It's the Yogi Throat Coat tea. I don't even like have a sore throat. It's just really yummy and delicious. And they come with little quotes. Today's quote, well, this tea's quote, is if you do anything out of sheer compassion, you will never be wrong. Which I feel like is actually really fitting because today I am gonna go through some takeaways from an interview with Oprah. So I used to watch the Oprah show like in high school, and I kind of got tired of it because I felt like she was always interrupting people, and I didn't really like that, and so I stopped watching it, and I was like, well, she. I don't know. I had whatever thoughts I had about her based on that, just like me noticing that she interrupts people. But then I listened to her podcast a little bit, her like Super Soul podcast and some of those interviews. And then I started following her on Instagram and just seen a few other interviews and just like the way that she looks at the world and the way that she comes at things is like kind of the way that I want to as well. So I've been watching a few more of like her videos on YouTube and like interviews with her and stuff. Like I don't necessarily want to like go back and watch her show again, but just things about Oprah and like her talking about her life and her point of view and no, I really like it. So I'll link the video below. It is a little bit over an hour, but she has other things like there's like a commencement speech that I watched and stuff too. So there's a lot of videos with her out there. But this one will be linked below. And so these are just kind of some of the things that really stood out to me and my book, and probably a little bit of why as well. So the first one is listen to your instincts. Listen to what feels right. Listen to what feels like the next right step. And that's something that I've kind of known for a while and been like trying to do a little bit more for a while. Is like, especially when I'm like dealing with depression, it's like, okay, what feels right? Like, what do I just need right now? Don't worry about anything else. Like, don't think about this massively long to-do list that, is there. Like, just what do I need right now? And so that's something I've been trying, you know, I've known for a little while and been kind of working on off and on in doing that. And so what really got me though was listen to what feels like the next right step. Because I definitely am one to be like, here's where I want to be, and like, here's the 5 million things I need to do to get there. So, freak out, overwhelm, do nothing. And there's sometimes too where I'm like, okay, well, I want to get here, like this is the next thing to do. And it's like, well, to do this thing, I have to do this thing and this thing, and so it's like obviously this thing is not the next right step. If there's like 5 steps before that, like, what's the next right step? Bring it down to just right here, right now. What's the next stepping stone to get onto? And then from there, what's the next one? Like, don't worry about it all. I know where I'm going. Just like take the next step. And so that was just like a really good reminder for me. And the kind of like an abbreviated quote that she said too is, I know that, or I knew that she was talking about when she was like in television. She said, I knew that what I needed would show up for me, and that when it showed up, I was ready. I love that because I feel like I've said, and you hear people say that, like, well, I'm not ready for that yet. Well, like, if it showed up and the opportunity is in your life, that means you're ready. Like, I need to remember that. Like, if it's here, if the opportunity is here, that means you're ready for it. It wouldn't show up if you weren't ready. And that's something that I really like about the way that she sees the world. Is like everyone is here. I think I have some of those, like some of the things she said in here too. But everyone is here for a purpose. Like everyone has this like divine, or however you want to say, purpose, and something they're meant to fulfill, some way they're meant to live. And, everyone is here just trying to be the highest version of themselves. And I really, really like that perspective and that point of view on it. Not that like I'm fated per se, or like I have a destiny, but like I am here to do more than, work and pay bills and occasionally have fun. Like I'm here, there's something that's just like really gonna jive with my soul, and like that's what I'm meant to do, and to go find that instead of just like be okay with life and like, yeah, it was good enough. Like there's something that I can really do that's like gonna just like check all the boxes. And I really like seeing it that way. And that's something that she sees and she's talked about a bit. And so I think that's why I'm like really connecting with her right now. Okay. Another thing is there is no doing in the world without being first. So, like, being yourself first before you can do. Know yourself, who you are, and why you're here. Everyone has a calling, and you can't find it without having a connection and listening to your inner voice or instinct. So, everything kind of goes with the next one. Live from the inside out, who you are and what your real contribution is. So, everything comes from inside of you. What's really gonna check all of the boxes with like what you do, not necessarily what you do, but like how you live your life is gonna come from inside of you and like who you are. So it's who you are in here first and then the expression outside of it. Like otherwise it's just not true, you know? It's not real, it's not valid, it's just fake. And like why would we put fake stuff out into the world? And like nobody really I think connects with it if it's fake. um so that I need that reminder all the time, all the time, all the time. I can't just like do and be like, well, where did I go 5 years ago? You know, like I need to go here first, like here first, and get this all figured out, and then I can express that out into the world. And no, I'm not gonna stop what I'm already doing. I'm just not going to because I enjoy what I do. And I think it already is kind of in like an expression of me, a bit of doing from my being, but there's definitely more like being that I can do and find. There's a lot of room for growth there and opportunity. The next one is what propels an action is the intention. So she had this whole story with the Oprah show about how like every show they did, like she wanted to know what was the intention behind it. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, a bird just made noise and like Edgar freaked out. Like what is the intention behind the show? What are we trying to, bring to people? Like the intention, which there's that saying that like the road to hell is paved with the best of intentions. So to me that kind of has a duality to it. But what is the intention that propels that action? I think too it's more like sticking. I feel like there's something more to that. Like for me there needs to be another piece to that. Like it's not just the intention, but then it's also kind of connected with your being. So like what's your intention for this, but also like who are you and how are you expressing that and how are you taking this intention and turning it into action? Because you can have good intentions and do bad things, or things that hurt people, or there's so many different ways of saying that. So it also comes from just like who you are and what you believe, and how you express who you are in that action too, and not just the intention. Like that's for me. But I think intention is like a big part of like what should be behind what you do too. Like what are you trying to like get from this? What are you trying to show from this? You can't just like do stuff willy-nilly. I don't know if that made sense. Next is everyone wants validation. I don't know if I really have anything to say about this, but I do. I mean, it's just interesting because she's saying that she's interviewed, like everyone she's interviewed always asks at the end of the interview, how'd I do? Everyone wants that validation. Like everyone wants to make sure they did a good job. Like, which is interesting to me that there wasn't even just one person that was like confident in their interview. I don't know, just made me think. The next is kind of ties into our tea quote is come from compassion, and willingness to understand and be understood and to connect. I love that. So I think that's kind of like her intention behind everything is to be compassionate, to understand others, to be understood, and to connect with people. Because we're all humans. We're all living this life. We're all trying to like live our highest selves potentially. So I get what she's saying with like everyone's trying to be like the highest and like truest or best or whatever version of themselves. In a sense I kind of think that's true, but I think everybody wants that, but a lot of people are scared to do that and they let that fear overtake them. Um, because I think a lot of people don't really take action to like be their highest, truest version of themselves. Um, they're just like this, this is good enough or this is comfortable or whatever. So like a lot of people get stuck, but I think everyone wants that. But I like that way of like going about it. Like somebody asked me when I used to work at T-Mobile, one of my coaches had asked me like what do you want to like be known for here? And I was like, when I walk in the building, like I just want it to be like I am here for all of you. Like I'm here to support all of you in any way that I possibly can, or help you get the support that you need if it's not from me. So like that's something that I've always known is like I want to be here for people, to help people, to support people. And so I like that her also I like the connect part. Like that part really hit me where she always wants to like connect with other people. I like that. I think I would add that in. Like I want to be here for people and connect with people. Like we're all humans, not all of us are necessarily going to get along or get along all of the time, but there's still always opportunity for that connection. um Next, I feel like all these are just kind of, I could just like end like I'm done. Like I do that. I feel like with everything I'm just talk and done. There's no like ending. So next is being grounded in being, and like being who you are, so you can stay grounded as a person even when you like become more successful. And her thing was like, I'm still grounded even though I'm wearing better shoes, even though she's more successful and has more money, like she knows who she is and everything comes from that, and so she still stays level-headed and grounded. So like doing the mental and spiritual work to stay that way. And I don't really know what that is. I think, personal note, I think I'm kind of looking for someone to tell me what to do, to like tell me how to do mental work, to tell me how to do spiritual work. And there's like tons of things out there, right? I mean, everybody has different recommendations on what to do, like with journaling or meditating or whatever. So there's tons of things out there I could take away. But I feel like I'm still kind of like, I just want someone to tell me exactly what to do so it will work perfectly for me. And that's totally not how it goes. Like, rationally, I know that's not a thing. Like, I have to figure out how to do my own mental and spiritual work and to do it every day and to make sure that I stay consistent at it. Like, that's something for me to do, and I can take from everybody's recommendations and what they do that works for them, but then I have to find out what works for me. And so that's just that sentence that I wrote down. Does the mental and spiritual work? It was like, oh, I have to do it. I can't have someone tell me how to do it. I have to figure that out for myself, which is part of the mental and spiritual work. Next is at the core, everyone is the same. Everyone wants to fulfill the highest, truest expression of themselves. I kind of already talked about that too, but I like seeing everyone the same, in a sense. Like, obviously everyone is different, and I like that too, and I like seeing that and saying that like everyone is different. Everybody is different. Everybody's mind is different. Everybody's body is different. Like, we are all different, but like at the core, we are all the same, trying to fulfill the highest, truest expression of ourselves. And there's a quote, I'm going to kind of butcher it, that I've always liked, well, since I read it. Is that everyone is basically like everyone is struggling, or you never know what anyone has gone through, so like always be kind. Which I've ever since I've read that quote, which is not like that, it's not the exact quote, but it's something along those lines. I really liked that, and so this kind of resonates to me in the same way. Like, at the core, we're all the same, we're all the same, and that's how you connect to people, is knowing that at the core we're all the same. We're all just trying to live our best lives. We're all trying to be the best version of ourselves, and that's where you connect with people. The basis of all arguments. So I totally agree with this. So she stopped talking about arguments, and it was really more communication. And when people are arguing, it's not really about what they're arguing about, which I've noticed. Being single for like 6 years, I've totally noticed this. So the basis of all arguments, and really I would say even to all conversations, is did you hear me? Did you see me? And did what I say mean anything to you? Hi, are you gonna come lay with me again? Did you see me? Did you hear me? And did what I say mean anything to you? Like, everyone wants validation. You know, it just ties back to that. Like, everyone wants validation. Everyone wants that connection. And that's how you get it. And so arguments really happen when people feel like they're not being heard, or they're not being understood, they're not being listened to, they're being ignored. Like, that's when arguments happen. And so a couple other questions too, kind of along those lines, is like, are you here and are you paying attention? And that's, I mean, I think any kind of argument or frustration, like, that's the basis of it all. I totally agree with that. Your life is your greatest teacher. Yes, please. Everything is trying to bring you closer to yourself and to home. I don't know, did I write it down at all? I did. Okay, cool. Because this just kind of made me think of like there are no wrong paths, but we're kind of going to get to that later. So your life is your greatest teacher. Yes, it is. Like, when you detour from your path, like, that's going to teach you. When you come into bumps on your path, like, that's going to teach you. Like, you have to be open to the lessons and to seeing the lessons, but everything is teaching you if you let it. It's trying to teach you. It's telling you something. You just have to actually listen to it and absorb it and work with it, and learn from it. So, yes, and everything is trying to bring you closer to yourself, which I never really thought about, but makes perfect sense to me, right? Like, everything is just trying to, like, redirect you to who you are. Like, oh, this didn't work? Okay, let's go this way. This didn't work? Let's go this way. Like, it's just trying to bring you closer to who you are and to that highest and truest version of yourself. Okay, next. How are you going to use your money, your talent, your time in a way that allows you to fill you up first? That way you can keep giving. I totally loved her attitude about this. She was like, my cup overfloweth. And so somebody asked a question about like selfishness versus selflessness, and like how taking care of yourself can be selfish, or spending time with yourself, and like, no. And I don't think that self-care is selfish anymore. I think I definitely used to. Or like spending more time focusing on me rather than other people was selfish, but I totally don't agree with that anymore. I think it's necessary, right? You have to fill yourself up first. You have to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you have nothing to give. You cannot give to others from an empty cup. And so she says sometimes, people say, you're so full of yourself. And it was kind of like, I don't really want to be full of myself. But like now she's like, I'm full of myself. I'm so full of myself. My cup is full. My cup overfloweth. And that way I can give to others. And I just love the way that she said that and her attitude about that. Like, yes, I am full. Not in like, I'm so like full of myself and I'm so good and everybody else is not like that, but like, yes, I totally give to myself and I'm full of myself and I'm all totally me and I can give to others. Like, I love like her whole little spiel about that. It was great. And that is something that I constantly need a reminder of, because I totally push aside self-care and time for myself, and I end up just working, or I end up like distracting myself, or just kind of being like, I like want a break, so I'm gonna like lay here and watch a TV show or something. Like, I don't really take that time for myself for the mental and the spiritual work. So I constantly need that reminder. So I'm just going to try to remember Oprah being like, I'm so full of myself, my cup overfloweth. I have to fill myself up first, that way I can overflow and give to others. Like, I'm just going to try to keep that in my mind for as long as I can. Next is align your personality with your purpose, and no one can touch you. And I definitely think this is in line with like being the highest truest version of yourself. So like checking all the boxes, like everything hits, everything's going in the same direction, like everything's on the same path. Who you are, how you express that, being in your being, doing the mental and spiritual work, like what you're here to do, what your, purpose is. And I still kind of think like purpose, it can be like a general purpose, but like the way that you fulfill that purpose changes throughout your life. And that's something that she didn't necessarily say in those words, but like she did, like the Oprah show for 25 years, and she was like, this isn't hitting it anymore. I need to do something else. And so I think the way that you express your purpose or fulfill your purpose changes throughout your life. But I just love that, like, I don't even want to say it's an idea, but I just love that like when you align your personality with your purpose, no one can touch you. Like, you are just gonna go and you're gonna cruise and life is gonna be great, and it doesn't matter what people say or think. Like, you're in your own and you're doing it and it all feels right, and nothing's gonna bring you down. I love that. Next is, you don't have anything to give that you don't have. You have to keep your own self full. Your number one job is to work on yourself and keep yourself full. My cup runneth over, and that's how you give. So I think I just kind of went over that quite a bit. But again, need that reminder, your number one job is to work on yourself and keep yourself full. Like, I'm realizing more and more the last couple years how important that is. Am I very good at doing it yet? No, but I'm realizing it. Honor the reason for your being here. Only then can you offer your whole self, your full expression to the world. Stop the mind chatter that says that you're not good enough. And so I think this is kind of part of, too, like, life being a teacher, and like everything is bringing you more to yourself, and honoring why you're here, what you're here to do, who you are, and letting us, this is a lot of like mental work that I need to do, is like just letting the mind chatter go, not even the negative mind chatter, but just like not listening to any of the mind chatter, because it usually just like offers nothing. And bringing your whole self, your full expression to the world, and doing that and honoring that. And I don't know, I feel like I'm going in circles with this one, but I just totally agree with that. There are no mistakes, no wrong paths. They are there to wake you up to your supreme destiny. The way through the challenge is to get still and figure out what is the next right move. So yes, this is something that I have, like, for a few years now, or a couple years at least, I've always been like, that I don't have regrets, right? Like, I don't see things as like mistakes. I don't really get embarrassed, or at least not for very long, just for like a minute or two, and then I'm like, yeah, whatever, what happened, it's fine. Because it just, first of all, it's all in the past. You can't change it. You can only learn from it. So everything is just gonna push you back to the right path. Everything is gonna bring you closer to yourself. The things that are on the wrong path, when you make those detours, they're just gonna wake you up and be like, you know what, this isn't right. Like, this is not for me. I gotta do something else. Like, and I think that's where a lot of people, in my opinion, get stuck, is they're like, this isn't right, I'm uncomfortable, but they don't do anything to try to figure out what is right. They justify the, like, this is enough, or they listen to the thoughts that say, you're not good enough for that. They listen to those for a very long time, and so yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck and like stay in the comfort zone instead of doing this. But those wrong paths, those mistakes that aren't really mistakes, like there's no failure either, like they're waking you up, they're lessons, they're teaching you, they're just getting you closer to yourself. Like, yes, I 100% agree with all of that, and that's something like I'm glad I've been able to learn and like see. So like, I don't have regrets, I don't see mistakes, like, I don't really get embarrassed, like, just it's detours. They happen. They totally happen. Sometimes, like, one thing, like when driving, sometimes they can be really fun. I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going. Let me just drive through here, and it can be fun. But then you just gotta get back on the right path and go to where you're going. That might not have been like the best example or thing to say, but whatever, it came out. And the last thing is, your life is bigger than one moment. So again, with like the mistakes, and I think kind of too, embarrassment, is your life is bigger than just like right now. life is so, like, so, it's huge. It's so huge, we honestly can't even understand how many moments we get, how many opportunities we get, how many lessons we get, how, like, we don't necessarily, like, have a ton of time, but within that not ton of time, we have a lot of time. Like, you really do. Like, you're only here for so many years, but those years are made up of so many minutes and hours and days. Like, there's so much that you can do and so much that you can get over. Like, it's just, it's huge. It's so, like, I don't even think we can really understand how huge our lives are, how many moments we get. Like, our life is so much bigger than this. Like, this moment, me talking to the camera at my phone with my cat on my lap, like, I love this, and appreciate this, and I love it when he comes and lays with me, and it's like the best, and he's just a little cuddle bug, and I love him. Um, but then, like, my life is bigger than this moment. Like, I'm gonna go on to, like, continue to learn more and grow more and do more and be more. Like, it's so much bigger than this in a way that I can't even comprehend. Yes, that was it. I thought that was a great one to end on. Your life is bigger than one moment. Get over it. Move on. Get to the next one. You're fine. That is everything that I had from Oprah's talk, and there's quite a bit of me talking too about it. I would highly recommend watching her video, any of her videos. Right now, I'm just like super in love with her. And I really respect, like, where she's coming from and what she's doing with her life, and I think she's awesome. So I hope you watched that, and I hope you enjoyed this. And Edgar's little ear and me are gonna say goodbye, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.